Hi, this is Yegor from Sonum International. If you missed our webinar on Anaplan My Pages, I hope this recording will be helpful to learn more about this functionality. So hello everyone, this is Yegor from Sonum International, and welcome to our webinar on My Pages in Anaplan. Now before we start, I would like to remind you that we prepared a video on navigating the pages and new user experience. My colleague Mitch will walk you through the basics of how to navigate around pages, filter, pivot, search, and so on. So if you haven't seen this video already, I would definitely recommend it. Let me start with a short introduction of Sonum International and Anaplan. Sonum International is an implementation partner. We work with Anaplan, OneStream, Vana, Board, and other tools. We're a Gold Anaplan partner, one of the first companies that started to work with Anaplan in Europe. And we have over 40 consultants that are in a flat structure company, meaning we do not have managers, and our most experienced consultants are working hands-on with projects, including our co-founders with over 20 years of experience. We support our customers from all over the world, working on operational planning and financial consolidation projects. Now, most in this call are already familiar with Anaplan, but for those who are new to the platform, I'll give a quick introduction. Anaplan is a cloud-based planning software that helps large organizations on their way to connected planning. In-memory processing allows to change assumptions for your plans from any device and see the effect in a matter of seconds. Hence, all stakeholders can work with latest version of data that is based on a single source of truth. Anaplan does not require any coding experience to master, and business users can maintain the model and change the calculation without any support from IT. The platform is also scalable. On this slide, you can see blocks of the company's planning process. Each block can be managed by an independent Anaplan model, and yet it's very easy to set up links between the two models. This ensures that the entire company is operating with the same set of assumptions. What we often see is that organizations start with a smaller project in a single area and can easily expand their use of Anaplan once they see the real value of the tool. Now, this is our application, and this is basically a landing page. Once you enter the app, here you can see all your boards and worksheets. This is the same application that we used in the YouTube video that I mentioned before. What we're going to do as part of this webinar is we're going to take a personal copy of one of the boards, and then we're going to create from scratch a completely new worksheet. So let's go into our production overview board. There's a very helpful board to take kind of top level view on our production volumes. And that shows us for each SKU, so we can select an SKU on top of the board here, distribution of production volumes per plant. You can filter by months and select current months. You can see the volumes by country in the KPI over here. And then you see the graph that shows you split between EMEA, APAC, and Americas. Now, what we want to do is we want to get a report that helps us to drill down more into the SKU level. So we would like to have our SKUs in rows. We would like to have our plants in columns, and we would like to select the current months in the page selectors. So here you can see that we cannot edit this dashboard as we do not have a page builder access to this modal. What we can do is we can click on the three dots over here and save a personal copy of the dashboard. Once we come back to our app navigation, you will see your personal copy under My Pages on the top of your navigation menu. You can also go to My Pages from the drop-down menu from any other dashboard in the tool. Once you're in My Pages, you'll have this little edit button. So that's something that you don't have in the regular pages. Once you click here, it enters the edit mode that can get a bit overwhelming if you don't have any experience working with, the background of Anaplan. And this is what we're about to go through. So first off, we want to delete all these extra things over here. So we will delete our buttons, we'll delete the header, the KPI, our form. The action cards you can see are not supported on my pages because action cards will only work on pages created by the page builders. So we'll delete them too. And finally, we'll delete this graph. We'll include another graph later on the bottom of the board. For the BU production volumes, what we want to do is we want to pivot this table. And to do that, we need to go into the edit menu over here. Now, the card designer that we just entered consists of two views, the select view and the configure view. By default, we're going to start on the configure view. So we'll have to go back to the select view to access all the functionalities of the card designer. Here on the left, you can see the views, or rather the modules, which you can use to pick up data from the modal this page is linked to, in this case, our Leprechaun Smoothies modal, and you can see that we're picking up our data from DS01 BU production volumes. And then in the top right, you can pivot, filter, sort, show and hide any items in your columns or rows, and finally apply conditional formatting. What we would like to do now is we would like to pivot it so that we have plants in columns, we have time in context selectors, and then we have a list of SKUs in rows. Now this looks good, but you can see that our list of SKUs has the subtotals in it. What I want to see is I just want to see the SKUs and then all product summary at the end. To do that, I can go into the eye icon here in the pivot menu, or here in the top right of the card designer. So what I want is for my product SKU, I want to hide the type and flavor. Once you do that, don't forget to click apply. So the changes would take effect. And now we can see we have a list of our SKUs and the old product lines on the very bottom. Once we click next, we're once again taken to the second configure screen. And here we can give a title. So let's say production volumes by SKU. We can allow editing, which let's say we do not want to do that, so we don't edit anything by accident in our board. And we can apply or disable the hierarchy filter. So if you disable the hierarchy filter, you'll always see all the plants. If you apply hierarchy filter, you'll only see plants for the country that is in your page selectors. Now let's click update and publish. So this looks quite good, but there's a few things that I'm not very happy about. Number one, we have a United Kingdom selector here, and we also have it on the top of the dashboard. We have our months here and a full year indicator, but I don't ever want to see my full year. I just want to take a look at the actual months, so I want to hide that. And finally, this line item selector, which only has one line item volume, takes space but doesn't really add a lot of value. So let's go into the edit mode again and adjust this. So for the volume, we can click on this cogwheel over here and just select off, and it will no longer be shown on a page. For our time dimension, we can go into the show hide options over here and remove the time summaries. Click apply. And finally, let's go back into our edit of the product volume by SKU module. And you'll see the selectors over here as well. So what we want to do is we want to click on this cogwheel here and say off. So it will be synchronized with a page, but we'll not see another separate card on this particular grid. You can see it's also off for the years and for the volumes. So we click update, publish, and this is already much better, right? So the selector doesn't occupy any extra space in our grid. We can select any months, but the full year is not available. And then the volume is not seen as a page selector since it only has one item anyways. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to put a graph on the bottom of this table. First off, what we need to do is we need to grab a chart card, just simply drag and drop it to a place where we want to see it, and then go into configure. View designer to select the data that we want to be showing. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky because you have a list of your modules where you can pick up the data from, but it's not necessary that you know what the module name is that you want to use in this particular case. So what we want to do is we want a chart that would show us our budget production volumes versus previous year's actual volumes with a percentage escalation. You can see that we have a module DS01 that shows budget production volumes. If you click on it, you will see what the data looks like. We have DS02 that shows the actual production volumes for previous year. And also we have this little RP06 for volume escalation, where we have both and the percent evolution. Now, if the naming convention in the modal that you're working with is not as transparent, or you simply don't know where to start searching, it's good to have a good relationship with your modal administrator, so you can always check which module actually contains the data that you would like to see. Once the module is selected, it gets really easy. So what we want to do is we want to make a chart where we select a specific SKU and a specific plant, which, yeah, is good. We can see it in page selectors over here. We want to see these in line items. And finally, we want to see the calendarized data, so by month, but we certainly don't need the full year. It will not benefit our chart at all. So we click on the eye icon again, go into time, remove the time summaries, click apply, close it, and now we're pretty much ready to go. So we say update, and we get our chart. Now, Anaplan uses the combination chart with lines for each line item by default, but this is not the best format for our particular use case. So we can go into chart options here. And for our production volume, for current year and previous year, we're going to use columns. Here you can see if it's stacked or clustered. In our case, obviously clustered is better. And finally, the evolution percent, well, you can see it's really flat over here. So what we want to do is we want to put it on a separate axis, which you can select here. Let's play around with the colors a little bit to make it a bit nicer. So we'll go for orange for current year. We'll go for a lighter green for previous year and something dark for the evolution percentage. And now we're good to go. Click publish again. Finally, one more thing that I want to do is I want to put a KPI next to our chart that would show us the percentage escalation for a particular plant, SKU, and months combination. So in order to do that, I'll go into the edit mode again, pick up a KPI card, drop it next to our chart, and go into configure KPIs. Now, I already know where to find the percentage. It's in RP06. And the important thing about KPI is it's only going to show you one value. So you want to make sure that you only see one value in your default view here. So what we'll do is we'll move time to context selectors. We'll go into line items here and only show evolution percent. Click apply, next. And this is what our KPI will look like. So what we want to see is a percent escalation from previous year. By default, your title will be your module name, but of course you can change it to anything you want. And then you click add and resize this just a little bit to make our chart a little bit bigger. So what we just did is we just created almost a completely new board. And now we're about to go and create a new worksheet. So let's come back to our app navigation, go into create a page over here. And what we want to do is want to create a worksheet, give it a name. Let's call it 02. Let's say we create a worksheet that would show us for each plant, our budget production volumes by SKUs. So as a plant manager, you would be able to go through your production volume by SKU and correct the numbers that you're not excited about. So we'll call it revise SKU production volume by plant. You'll need to select a workspace and the modal. In my case, it's just one modal that you'll be picking up data from. Remember, it's on one board or on one worksheet, so on one page in principle, you can only post information from the same modal. Click create. And this is our worksheet. So as you know from the video, or if you haven't watched the video yet, the worksheet contains two parts, the main grid over here and the additional insights panel on the right. we'll start with configuring the main grid. So what we want again is production volumes, DS01. We know we want to pivot it straight away. So the line items can go into context selectors with just one line item, so not too much fun to look at. SKUs will go in here, and plants will also be selected in a page selectors above. For the SKUs, in this case, we would like to hide all the top levels so we can only see the editable fields. So we can click next. We do, of course, want to be able to edit this data. And what you can also do is you can also allow pivoting. So you would be able to pivot this data if you needed to. Now, it's your dashboard, so why not allow yourself pivot? Let's click update and publish. So this is our main grid. One thing that I don't like is, once again, we have a volume selector over here. And also, as we change plants, we can accidentally step on a country, and then this field will not be editable. So let's say I only want to see plants in this list. So again, I go into edit mode, and I remove my selector for line items, and I remove top levels for my plants or my geography hierarchy. Publish again, and now that looks a little bit better. Now, we're currently only using the main area of our worksheet, but we don't take any advantage of the insights panel. So let's go ahead and do that. Go into the edit section again. So what you can do on the insights panel is you can add quick links or additional insights. The quick links is basically a link to a different dashboard or a different page. A good thing to know here is that you will not be able to link your page to a different My page. So you can see that 01 production overview copies that we have created is not in this list, but production overview is. So if we publish that and we open the additional insights panel, what we can do is we can click on the production overview and it will take us to this page. Now, this is not really functional for us right now, so we'll go into edit and just remove that, and instead go into the additional insights section and add a few things. So I'd say we need a pie chart that for each SKU will show us which plants the production volumes are coming in. We need some master data per SKU, so we could click on the SKU and see the pack size and the pack type, for example. And we need an analysis versus previous year together with the escalation percentage that we've seen before. So we'll start with a chart. Again, click on configure and view designer. What we want is we want production volumes for budget. Let's say we only want the production volumes for full year. So we want to see distribution by plant for full year. And then we need to have plants in our rows. So we go into pivot with plants and rows, line item and context selectors, click on I next to time and remove the details, click apply. Now this is a good basis for our pie chart with one exception. You never want to have top levels when you're working with pie charts because it will look ugly then and also not transparent. So we'll go into I, plant, remove all the top levels, including country, not forget to click apply and update. Now, by default, Anaplan will give you a line chart, which is obviously useless in this case. So from chart type combination, we'll go into a pie chart. There's a very small pie, so we'll make it a little bit bigger. And if we click publish, you can see that we can choose the SKU from here, or we can choose the SKU by clicking on any of the SKUs in our main area. So why not, remove this as a selector and just keep it as a label? So by going into the edit mode, what we can do when editing the chart is going into context selectors here. And for our product SKU, saying that we just want to see it as a label, you can see that it takes less space. And it just gives us a name of the SKU without a possibility to choose it. I'll need to make it a little bit bigger still. By the way, one thing that I definitely recommend is try out the donut chart. Same functionality of pie chart, but it does look, well, a bit more unusual and a bit nicer. And that kind of covers it with our charts. The next thing that we want to do is want to include some grid with the master data. go into Configure Grid. And again, the question is, which module do we choose? Now, we want properties of our SKU to be shown. And for that, we are interested in system modules. So sys02 product SKU properties, we click on that to see what it has. And you can see that it has our pack type and pack size information, and then you'd be able to select the SKU on top, which is exactly what we need. So we click Next. We can shorten the name a little bit, just say SKU properties. We will never want to edit our SKU properties from here. This is master data. We'd like to keep it, safe. And finally, we don't want to see this little selector over here because we already see it's orange O3 plastic. There's no reason to occupy more space of our additional insights by this selector. So we'll go into this cogwheel, click off, and update. Resize this slightly, publish. And this is what we see. So as we go through SKUs, you can see the changing pack type and pack size and the changing distribution per plant. Now, finally, let's include our final report here, a little grid that would show us the escalation from previous year and also the previous year's figure. We already know this is stored in RP06. And this is pretty much the way that we want to see it. So we have an SKU selected, we have a plant selected, and we want to be able to see our production volume for current and previous years and the evolution by months, and also a figure for the full year. So no need to pivot, no need to show or hide anything. Click Next. We already know that we're not going to want our selectors on this particular part. And we can allow editing or not, but everything is formulas here, so there's nothing to edit. I'll also rename it to say just volume escalation from previous year, hiding the module code. And click Add, Publish. And now you can see that as you click on the SKU, if you move your Insights panel quite a bit to the left, you can see the evolution from previous year. This is a bit of an ugly view, so what we can do as well is we can click on this rectangle here and show our escalation on the bottom of the page. Actually, if we're doing that, what we can also do is we can go into Edit pane, click on the three dots next to our volume escalation from previous year, and hide cart preview, because a cart preview doesn't give a lot of value in this small additional insights panel, like so. So once we publish, it will be a simple name of the card, but when you click on this name of the card, you will see your report right below your main grid. And as you change your things here, you see that your percentage increase is changing as well.
Today we showed you how to customize a page in Anaplan or create a new page, be it a board or a worksheet. We hope you like this video. Find a link to our other video on how to navigate Anaplan user experience in the description below. Subscribe to our channel to get notifications when the new videos come out, and follow us on LinkedIn for more helpful content.